Years in the making, the vision is finally realized tonight, and where better to kick it off than the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida. It is the debut of Bellator Fighting Championships, where fighters become warriors and warriors become legends. So glad to have you inside the Hard Rock Live Arena with us. My name is John Anik. Great to have you with us. Some of the best mixed martial arts you will see over the course of our 12-week tournament. We will crown champions in 4 different weight classes: 145 pounds for the featherweights, 155 pounds for the lightweights, the welterweights at 170 pounds, and the middleweights at 185 pounds. At the end of our tournament, there will be 4 new world title holders, all of whom will have taken home $175,000. With that, I'm privileged to bring in my partner, the MMA veteran Jason Chambers. Jason, what do you expect to see over the course of the next 3 months?
Well, the first thing I expect to see are some awesome fights. I mean, we have some super talented fighters in this tournament and in the undercard bouts, not just from across the country, but from across the world. Fighters all over are loving this opportunity because a tournament offers you the ability to go on and create your own future. You can write your own path. You're not waiting for someone to tell you who you're gonna fight. The best come, they fight the best, and with the opportunity to win that much money, it's life-changing for some of these guys.
It is the much-anticipated debut of Bellator Fighting Championships. Privileged to be joined by Jason Chambers. I'm John Anik, and now we get to the tournament action. The first tournament fight, a quarterfinal in the lightweight division. Toby Imada taking on Zodiddy Alonzo Martinez.
I got into MMA right out of high school. I wrestled in high school. I'm a state champ from Nebraska. They had an amateur fight night there in Omaha, Nebraska, and that's how I first started, and it just progressed from there.
All right, Jason, you got 2 of the most experienced mixed martial artists on the card, top to bottom. This is Alonzo Zodiddy Martinez, his first fight right out of high school 6 years ago now, just 24 years old, already has 22 wins and 34 professional fights.
Yeah, and some of his losses have come to guys that are super high level. I mean, he has losses to guys like Clay Guida, Eve Edwards, absolutely guys that are in their top of their division. So this is a really tough guy to plan for because his record is a little bit deceiving. He's a guy who's great with the ground and pound, freestyle. He's a Victory Fighting Championship lightweight champion. So he's someone who's been to the top, fought through the ranks, and hopes to do it again in the tournament.
Zodiddy Martinez, also an all-state safety in football and a state champion wrestler in Nebraska, had a real hard time with the weigh-in though. Came in at 157.25 pounds. About 2 hours later, he eventually made weight, but I think a lot of people are wondering, will the weight cut affect Zo Martinez as this fight progresses?
Well, yeah, I know that when you don't make weight, that's the worst feeling in the world. You get on a scale and you look down and you go, I've got 2 more pounds to lose, and I've just been cutting weight for the last 48 hours. And unfortunately, that does take a toll on you. We saw him yesterday, and he looked kind of worse for the wear, but today he looks good, and he says he's ready to go. So we're going to see if this actually is his day.
Martinez fights out of the Premier Combat Center in Omaha, Nebraska, also Mick Doyle's Kickboxing Academy, and it really is a great matchup on paper. Alonzo Zodiddy Martinez against Toby Imada, who also got an early start in mixed martial arts.
I started judo when I was about 13. Until I got out of high school, I ran into people from judo that fought in the UFC. And that I've been teaching ground fighting classes. And they mentioned to me if I would ever consider fighting, and I thought about it, and I did it, and I liked it, and I'm still doing it. Since then, I just branched out to different things, from kickboxing to boxing to, God, and putting it all together. I never told my parents I wanted to be a fighter. I told them I was doing it. I told my mom, and then my dad saw me and flipped out. But I think now, after me doing it for so much time, my dad finally accepted I found something that I really dedicated to myself to. He's gone through the trouble of showing up at a few of my fights, which is kind of impressive. I was like, wow, I actually have a fan. My mom, on the other hand, kind of wants me to stop and go live with her in Mexico.
And just because Toby Imada has 30-plus fights in his MMA career, that does not curb his enthusiasm for this Bellator opportunity, a freestyle fighter out of the Alliance MMA gym in California.
Yeah, Toby Imada is not only a black belt in judo, but he's had some wars with guys like Joe Stevenson, Hermes Franca, guys like Jake Shields. He went 3 rounds with Jake Shields to a decision. And he's no slouch. This guy comes out of Alliance MMA. He has a do-or-die attitude. And currently, Toby is riding a 6-fight win streak. Says he wants to make it to lucky number 7 here tonight and progress in the tournament a little closer to that 175 grand.
Yeah, you mentioned he went the distance with Jake Shields, one of the best welterweights in the world. Toby Imada now competing in the lightweight division, 155 pounds. Notable losses, you mentioned some of the who's who amongst mixed martial artists. Wants to mix it up, says he will go for the takedown if it's there, but he's not going to force the issue. One thing I'm looking at, though, despite the 17-10 record or the 30-plus fights, he's only gone the full 15 minutes that one time in his career. So over 30 fights, most of the career at welterweight, not a ton of experience going the distance.
Yeah, and coming down from 170 to 155 too, I think that's really going to add to his arsenal because he's going to be used to guys that are bigger, stronger, and he's going to be able to use his speed a little more, especially coming from a judo background and leverage and things of that nature. So I'm really excited to see what Toby brings to the cage tonight.
Toby really has a refreshing attitude. Says if he wins by decision, he doesn't necessarily consider it a win. He says, I didn't lose, but I don't want to leave it in the judges' hands. And this is the beginning of the tournament. We send it inside the voice of the Bellator cage, Lupe Contreras.
Damas y caballeros, este es el inicio de la primera ronda del torneo de eliminación directa de Bellator Fighting Championships en la división peso ligero. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the start of the first round of the Bellator Fighting Championships lightweight Single Elimination Tournament. Traído a ustedes en asociación con, being brought to you in association with Ford Motor Company y ESPN Deportes. Este combate, pactado a 3 asaltos en la división peso ligero. This bout, scheduled for 3 rounds of MMA action in the lightweight division. Los jueces, the judges, Rich Green, Rick Bays y Héctor Gómez. El referee, Troy Wall. Presentando la esquina azul, introducing the blue corner. Sube el cuadrilátero vestido de negro con color blanco y rojo. He steps in wearing black trimmed in white and red. Su peso oficial, 155 libras. His official weight, 156 pounds. Practica el arte marcial de estilo libre con un récord profesional de 22 victorias con 12 derrotas. He is a freestyle MMA fighter with a professional record of 22 victories, along with 12 defeats. Representing Premier Combat Sports, Omaha, Nebraska, Alonzo Zoldini Martinez. Su rival en la esquina roja, his opponent in the red corner, vestido de blanco con negro y dorado. He steps into the ring wearing white trimmed in black and gold. Detuvo la báscula un peso oficial de 155 libras y un cuarto. He tipped the scales at an official 155 1/4 pounds. Practica los artes marciales de judo y lucha libre. He is a judo and wrestling practitioner con un récord profesional de 17 victorias y 10 derrotas, with an MMA record of 17 victories and 10 losses. Representing Throwdown Elites, Los Ángeles, California, Toby Imada.
Fighters, center of the ring. Fighters, center of the ring. Gentlemen, we all know the rules. I want a good, clean fight. Let's touch gloves, go back to your corner. Let's get ready to rock and roll.
All right, so you heard it there from Troy Waugh, and it is the first quarterfinal in the Bellator Fighting Championships lightweight tournament. Again, the fighters control their own destiny. No matchmakers really involved in the process. You win, you move on. You win tonight, you win $25,000, and you are on to the semifinals. A huge opportunity for these two experienced fighters to get a world championship belt.
right hands.
And again, we'll be keeping a close eye on Alonzo Martinez. A very difficult weight cut for him. Will that play a factor with his cardio, with his gas, as we move on to the later rounds? Nice knee there.
Keep your knees out. You okay? You okay? Keep your knees out.
Maybe wondering how he got that Zo Giddy nickname, might as well tell you. Buddy in high school says you will be to fighting what P. Diddy was to rap music. So I guess so far so good for Alonzo Martinez.
I'm not sure how to quite take that on his buddy. Depends on how you feel about P. Diddy, I guess. Working a good jab there. Now, that's one thing that Martinez definitely has on Imada is that reach advantage. See if he can exploit it. Both guys, lots of experience coming into this fight.
Martinez really doesn't go the distance too much either. We mentioned Imada, not a veteran of distance fight. 20 of 22 wins for Alonzo Martinez. He's finished his opponent. So you're talking KO, TKO, or submission. 20 of his 22 victories.
Yeah, Alonzo Martinez really has to be careful in the clinch. Oh, spinning back fist that missed. Got to be careful in the clinch here with a black belt in judo. He's going to try to leg trip, takes him down.
Martinez trying to stay off his back, able to do so at least there as Toby Imada tries to get into the full guard.
But Toby's going to want to try to pass into either side control. He's going to use his right foot to kind of kick off of the knee, or he's going to try to come over the top and mount. What Martinez really needs to do here is get Toby back into a full guard. Use that left forearm on his hip, push down towards his knee and recompose his guard. You can see him pushing right now. Imada not letting him have any of it. Throwing some punches and just pepper him a little bit.
Imada there on top with the yellow trim on the white and black shorts. Martinez on the bottom with the black. Little up kick there. Oh, and again lands right on the chin.
Got to be careful with up kicks that land halfway because it just pisses off your opponent.
Yeah, right. Can't feel good. Nice punches there to the ribs by Imada, willing Martinez to get back on his feet. Again, nice body shots there. Those really accumulate over the course of the fight.
Martinez throwing a couple kicks to the midsection, throwing up kicks. Big right hand coming down by Imada.
Yeah, Imada not afraid to strike with the left when it's there. Not a southpaw, but showing off a little power there with the left hand.
That's the problem when you get sweaty. It's hard to work guard. You need to kind of resort to rubber guard and things of that nature because a lot of the jiu-jitsu stuff gets negated at this level. Wrestlers tend to dominate more.
And again, Imada really showing off his toughness. Again, taking some of those up kicks right off the chin, but keeps coming at Martinez and forcing the issue.
You see Imada using his right instep there on the thigh of Martinez. He's going to try to push down with his right leg, create a little space, and slide his knee through. See him right here, boom, passes right into side mount. Martinez tries to get up, but Imada's not having any of it.
You see the experience too, Jason. Martinez not wanting to give up his back there. Thought he could sneak out, wasn't able to do so.
Watch the back of the head. Careful. Keep it on the keep it clean.
Cross side here, seeing if he can open something up. Those punches don't do a whole lot, but they make the judges look at you. Imada's working the choke a little bit. He's got his right hand around his throat. Is he gonna have the leverage to finish a rear naked choke from where he's at? Oh, he's on his back now. Martinez really has to be careful here. You've got a judo black belt on your back. It's over.
That will do it. Toby Imada making a statement as the lightweight tournament kicks off here at the Bellator Fighting Championships. No doubt a disappointed Alonzo Martinez, unable to get anything going against Toby Imada. And you talk about a dark horse in this tournament, look no further than Toby Imada, the second-degree judo black belt, a 7-year pro, made his debut all the way back in August of 1998, runs his winning streak to 7 victories, as he finishes a very qualified opponent, by the way, in Alonzo Zo Diddy Martinez, and really a great stylistic matchup on paper. Thank Matt Stanzel, our great matchmaker, for doing that. Two guys who have about 70 fights total squaring off in a quarterfinal matchup. Again, a ton of talent here in the lightweight division. Now you look at the end of the fight, Toby Imada able to lock in the rear naked choke. Again, Martinez tried to throw a few punches there, but he tapped pretty quickly, and Toby Imada really showing off his versatility. Said he was going to mix it up. That's exactly what he did. And why go 15 minutes? If you're able to get the finish that quickly, no reason to go the distance. And again, one more look here as Toby Imada rolls over and gets Alonzo Martinez in the rear naked choke. And Martinez, not enough gas. There you see him throw the right hand, but that will do it. Martinez exit cage right. We send it inside for the announcement.
Damas y caballeros, la esquina azul se rinde con un tiempo oficial de 3 minutos, 26 segundos el primer asalto. Ladies and gentlemen, this fight comes to an end after the blue corner taps out with an official time of 3 minutes, 26 seconds of the very first round. Your winner, by way of rear naked choke submission, and advancing to the next round of the Bellator Fighting Championships Lightweight Tournament. Damas y caballeros, el vencedor por estrangulación de espalda y avanzando a la segunda ronda del torneo ligero de Bellator Fighting Championships, Toby Imada.
So Toby Imada one step closer to the Bellator gold, $25,000 in his back pocket. He gets a chance now in the semifinals to win another $50,000. Toby Imada, our first semifinalist. He is on to the final four in the Bellator Lightweight Championship. Now we send it to Jason Chambers inside the cage.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with your winner, Toby Imada. Toby, you were on a 6-fight win streak. You made it number 7. Tell me a little bit about the fight.
Well, it came out kind of under a lot of pressure. It's a big deal, and it's something different than I'm normally used to. But came out, tried to mix it up, feel my opponent out. Didn't get to do a lot of research on him, so there was a lot of feeling out going on. But I'm not a strong dude. Came in quick, game ready. I just saw a good opportunity for me to take. Didn't pass anything up, and as soon as it was there, I took it, stuck with it, and ended up finishing the way I did. Just trying to give it all that I got.
Choking people out in good times. Ladies and gentlemen, Toby Imada.
All right, so Toby Imada moving on to the semifinals. The win over Alonzo Diddy Martinez. Back with more Bellator action right after this. And the debut of the Bellator Fighting Championships continues from Hollywood, Florida. Now we move along with an opening quarterfinal bout in the featherweight division. 3 rounds of fighting at 145 pounds. And a really good matchup here on paper. Joe Soto, undefeated in 4 fights against Ben Greer. And in the case of Greer, like father, like son.
The person I look up to the most is my dad. He's always worked hard from a young age. He actually wakes up every morning and goes to the gym before work at 5:30. My dad was also a wrestler in high school, so as a young child I would wrestle with him.
He expressed his desire to do this on a more serious basis, and that was where, after seeing mixed martial arts on TV, I had this reaction like, you got to be kidding.
I also think that my dad has, wanted me at times to focus more on school and take over the family business, but I've been kind of, going in a different direction, which he's always supported.
Certainly, as a father, I feel that emotionally. It's very, very difficult to watch that. But fortunately, the one fight that I'm remembering, he came back in the last round, the last 2 rounds, and got the upper hand. So it was good to see the contrast and to be there and experience that, him coming back.
And don't let the humble demeanor fool you. Ben Greer, out of Vancouver, Canada, began his mixed martial arts career actually while a college wrestler at Douglas College. In between semesters and in between collegiate wrestling, would get going in the cage. Graduated from Douglas College with a degree in finance. But now, Jason, it is all about mixed martial arts for Ben Greer.
Yeah, absolutely. He's fought all over the place. He's got a bunch of fights and organizations across the country. He actually, ironically enough, has a degree in finance, and he's looking to add to his financial gain right now by kicking some butt in Bellator.
Yeah, you get a W here in the first round, the quarterfinal round. You win $25,000, but more importantly, you move closer to the Bellator world title. Ben Greer, a veteran of 15 pro fights, has 7 submission wins, really thinks he's going to have an edge tonight against Joe Soto in terms of his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and his boxing. Says he is so happy to be on the Bellator stage and really is looking to pressure his opponent and turn this into a 15-minute brawl if need be.
Yeah, these guys aren't fighting for a 6-figure contract. They're fighting for 6 figures. Literally $175,000 is so much more money than the majority of these guys are going to make over the course of their fighting careers, looking back 3 or 4 years. I know when I first fought, I fought for $100. $100 to fight, $50 if you win, and I don't even think that covered the gas because it was about a 4-hour drive.
Well, hopefully Greer's day job as a ship agent and does some accounting on the side. Hopefully Bellator provides him an opportunity that he doesn't have to deal with those jobs anymore. Says his favorite technique is the Kimura. So it remains to be seen if he can get that submission. Easier said than done, though.
You know what? Kimuras are something you don't see a whole lot more of, but I'm a fan of Jiu-Jitsu. I'd like to see some Kimuras. I'm rooting for Ben to pull off a Kimura if he can get one in there. The thing with Jiu-Jitsu, like I was saying, is that guys get really savvy, and it's hard to pull submissions off in the first few rounds. They have a lot of energy.
All right, well, Ben Greer's opponent, Joe Soto, grew up with 3 older brothers. How about that?
I'm the youngest, so I'm always stuck in being a little baby of the family. I had 3 older brothers, so I was always fighting in the house, and they used to make me fight against kids around the neighborhood too. But I used to always get beat up when I was younger. Well, I think around 3rd grade I started winning some fights. When me and my buddy went to the fights in our hometown, and we were just like, we really wanted to do it. We said, when we're 18, we're going to do it. When we're 18, we're going to do it. And so, when I was 18, I actually did it. During the summer, my buddy got me a fight, and I went in and I won that one in 2 minutes and 30 seconds, ground and pound. So that was my first sanctioned fight. I told my parents I wanted to be a professional MMA fighter. My dad was really cool with it. He was he thinks I could do it. You know, he thought I could do it. He was really pumped about the idea. My mom, on the other hand, wasn't really too thrilled about it. She still thinks of me as her little baby. So yeah, my mom watches my fight. She's usually the one screaming the loudest in the whole event. Sometimes you can hear her on the videos. Yeah, my inspiration is my father. He's always there for me. He's done so much for me, sacrificed so much for me, so I could try to achieve some of my goals. He's always been there on my side, and always talking me through stuff. And he's a good example as a dad and as a man.
And Joe Soto, the Hammer, is ready to make his presence felt on the Bellator stage. Has been fighting in mixed martial arts on and off since 2006. A decided wrestling background here, an All-American out of Porterville, California. Wants to end things in the first round. Jason says he always goes for the finish.
You know what? With a 4-0 record, he's on the track to being a star in this sport. And not only does he want to end things in the first round, but all of his fights, his opponents have yet to make it out of the first round. I mean, he's spent a total of 6 minutes in the cage. What's that? My math is kind of crappy, but that's what, 1 minute 15 seconds on average per fight?
Yeah, it's about a round plus total, and he will be at a decided experience disadvantage tonight, but really trying to relish the opportunity here that's been provided him by Bellator Fighting Championships. An explosive, compact package, 5'8", 145 pounds. And what I really liked in meeting Joe this week, doesn't really take himself too seriously, was having fun at the weigh-in, when, by the way, no fighter has a good time, and just seems very relaxed and ready for the big stage that's been provided him.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I think this close to a fight, things that really make the determining factor, you've already put the training in, you put in the work, you put in the technique. It's your mindset. How do you feel going into your fight? Now, things like being relaxed can work for you, can work against you, but Joe Soto, obviously, a 4-0 record, it's working for him.
Again, at Bellator Fighting Championships, we determine the best based upon performance. No subjective rankings, no ambiguity. You win, you move on, 3 fights, and you're a Bellator champion. Now we send it inside for the particulars.
Damas y caballeros, este combate inicia la primera ronda del torneo de eliminación directa de Bellator Fighting Championships en la división peso pluma. Ladies and gentlemen, this bout begins the first round of the Bellator Fighting Championships Single Elimination Featherweight Tournament. Traído a ustedes en asociación con, being brought to you in association with Ford Motor Company y ESPN Deportes. Pactado a 3 asaltos en la división peso pluma. This bout scheduled for 3 rounds in the featherweight division. Los jueces son, the judges are Rich Green, John Rupert y Héctor Gómez. El referee, Frank Gentile. Presentando a la esquina azul, introducing the blue corner, vestido de pantaloncillos negros con vivos amarillos y blancos. He steps into the ring wearing the black trunks with white and yellow trim. Detuvo la báscula a un peso oficial de 145 libras y media. He tipped the scales at an official 145 1/2 pounds. Practica el arte marcial de lucha libre con un récord profesional de 11 victorias y 4 derrotas. He is a wrestler with an MMA record of 11 victories and 4 losses. Representando, fighting out of Universal Martial Arts, Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, Ben Greer. Su rival en la esquina roja, his opponent in the red corner, vestido de blanco con color negro. He steps into the ring wearing white trimmed in black. Su peso oficial, 145 libras. His official weight, 145 pounds. También practica el arte marcial de lucha libre, con un récord invicto de 4 victorias. He too is a wrestler with an undefeated MMA record of 4 victories. Representing NorCal Fight Alliance, Los Ángeles, California, Joe Soto.
Okay, you got your instructions in the dressing room. Remember, protect yourself at all times. If I say freeze or stop, stop. Listen to my commands, all right? Are there any questions over here? Are there any questions over here? Remember about the elbows, right? You got the elbows, right? We're not using the elbows, all right? You got that? You got it. Good luck.
And we do want to point out, Frank Gentile pointing out the fact that elbows not permitted in the first and second rounds of the tournaments. Want to make sure that there aren't any cuts that prevent guys from continuing on. If these guys do advance to the championship, elbows come back in the mix. Other than that, Jason, the unified rules of mixed martial arts are in play.
Right, you just don't want to see a fight get stopped on a cut. These guys work really hard to get where they're at. We want to make sure the fighters have to beat the other fighters, and the doctor isn't stepping in and saying, hey, this is the end of your route.
And elbows rarely finish fights. More often than not, they just open up cuts that can't be closed all that easily.
Unless you're Kenny Florian. Finish a lot of fights for Kenny.
Absolutely. Elbows. But we look at Joe Soto here, and you saw how loose he was early on. I think we're talking about a wash in terms of these guys and their wrestling skills, but a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu edge for Ben Greer, and you have to think he'll be looking for the submission at all costs.
Well, I think Joe Soto is on a clock here. He's got about 45 seconds to put away Ben Greer before his stats all change.
Yeah, again, as you heard Jason mention, as Joe Soto was making his way to the cage, just 6:06 of ring time in his entire career.
Ben using the fence really well, getting that right underhook up underneath the left shoulder of Mr. Soto there. I got a feeling this fight's going to go a little longer than Mr. Soto's used to.
Again, a huge opportunity for these fighters. You win 3 fights and you become a Bellator world champion, not to mention $175,000. But it really must be nice for the fighters. They control their own destiny. So at the end of a fight, instead of begging and imploring the promoters for a title shot, you're on to the semifinals.
Yeah, Soto shoots in on a deep single leg there. You see, we're really focusing with the wrestling, pushing the head away. Great wrestling positioning. When a guy's in a single leg like that, you want to first get his head off you, just like Ben did. Greer put his head on Soto's head there, getting control, got his body away. Now you see him pummeling for those underhooks off the fence.
Nice wide base there for Joe Soto as he controls the action up against the cage, throwing some left hands there.
It's going to be hard for Soto to take Greer down, coming from that strong wrestling background. Also, it looks like Greer is a little bit stronger than Soto. Soto, however, extremely relaxed.
Yeah, don't let the physical, fool you, right? I mean,
no, absolutely. I mean, that's why Jiu-Jitsu was invented, because the physical act only goes so far when you have a technical edge. Soto taking a really low posture in his striking. You better hope Ben doesn't launch a front kick to the head, because that could put an end to your night.
Yeah, and keeping those hands down a little bit. You notice Greer's hands are up, Soto's are down.
One of the interesting things is you're going to have to question, how is this going to go and affect the psyche of Soto if he has to go 2-3 rounds? Does he feel like, hey, I can't beat this guy, and my other fights went quicker? I mean, right now he's working on a guard, showing some relentless right hands, trying to control the feet and pass.
Joe Soto doing a nice job here.
You see fighters do this often from this position, like Greer's doing. He has the half guard and he works a hand underneath the thigh. They're looking for sweeps. They're trying to get back on top of their opponent from a disadvantaged position. Right now, however, Ben just got mounted by Soto. You can't sit there right now if you're Greer.
Not where Ben Greer wants to be. Joe Soto working into the full mount there. Greer giving up his back here. Not something you want to do this early on in the fight. Joe Soto, Jason, got the underhooks in there?
No, he's got his hooks in. He doesn't have the underhooks. He's got to make sure that if he does get the underhooks, that Greer, you know, he's really got to work to get those out and stand up and try to come out the back door and untangle his legs. He can't just sit here.
Greer still intelligently defending himself, but he is taking some punishment here, and he needs to reverse course here in a hurry.
Soto's a little bit high on him. Might try to go for something and slide off here. But you see, when Greer is straightening that right leg, what he's trying to do is he's trying to unhook that instep of Soto that's hooked around his waist and kind of create some space so he can either turn to his back to the mat or can control a wrist and turn right like that, getting him off of his back here. This has got intelligent.
That will do it. Frank Gentile intervenes. Joe Soto living up to the nickname the Hammer and fired up about the victory. The first round TKO over Ben Greer, and a disappointing night for the pride of Vancouver, Canada, Ben Greer, absolutely. But Joe Soto moving on to the semifinals in the Bellator featherweight division. Really an impressive performance there. Volume punches throughout. You thought if this thing went to the second or third round, maybe Joe Soto would gas. But you know what? As has been the case throughout his mixed martial arts career, now has 5 first-round victories for Joe Soto. All right, Joe Soto moving on to the semifinals at 145 pounds. Ben Greer still recovering on the canvas there, wants to get up, and he is able to get up, but decidedly a disappointing night for Ben Greer. And if you're looking for sleepers in this tournament, I think Joe Soto certainly just established himself as a sleeper. Maybe you don't even want to call him one. I think Joe had some momentum coming in. All right, let's end it inside the cage. Lupe Contreras.
Damas y caballeros, el referee Frank Gentile para la contienda con un tiempo oficial de 3 minutos 40 segundos del primer asalto. Ladies and gentlemen, referee Frank Gentile steps in and calls a halt to this bout with an official time of 3 minutes 40 seconds of the very first round. Your winner, by way of technical knockout, el vencedor por knockout técnico. Y avanzando a la segunda ronda del torneo peso pluma de Bellator Fighting Championships. The winner, and advancing to the next round of the Bellator Fighting Championships Featherweight Tournament, Joe Soto.
So Joe Soto moving his mixed martial arts record to 5-0, and really the hammer, there's the stoppage there from Frank Gentile. Powerful striking for Joe Soto back in South Florida in just a moment. All right, now we move along to our second of 3 featherweight tournament fights on the Bellator debut card. Esteban Payan against Luis Palomino, who's had a long road lead to Bellator.
My name is Luis Baboon Palomino. I was born in Peru. Now I'm here in Miami, Florida, fighting with Team Agallar.
I think Luis Palomino is going to be the next like Mike Tyson MMA. That's how he fights. Very intelligent.
He came to me, he was a beginner Jiu-Jitsu player. And let me tell you something, today Palomino trains here at the gym with black belts. You know, he got his purple belt last year because he was training with a black belt from California. He tapped the guy out and said, man, I gotta promote you, you know.
He used to knock people out at 170. Luis Palomino used to knock people out at 170. And he dropped to 155, he became a champion in Connecticut. And now he's dropped, for some reason, he's dropped to 145. I mean, he's gonna be dangerous.
His hands, he can punch very hard. So I would stay away from Palomino's hands, you know. I don't know how, but I would stay away from him, you know. And if you take him down, good luck, because he's ready to go on the floor too. So it's very hard to beat him, man. You know, it's not gonna be easy to beat Palomino.
My nickname, Baboon.
That's it right there.
El Mandril. Baboon, you know, they named me after that because, you know, the wild monkeys, man, they don't fear anything, man. They go all at it. And my fight style is very similar. I'm very aggressive. You know, I don't stop at nothing. If I look to get off first, you know, I live up to that. Very aggressive fighter.
Yeah, Palomino moved to the U.S. from Peru at the age of 10. They call him the Peruvian prodigy. And he fought a lot after being separated from his family, had some anger issues, self-admittedly, but he turned those anger issues, that problem, into a sport, and now that sport has become his job. Now we meet his opponent. The Lally brothers knew what they got in Esteban Payan.
We call him El Talibre. His nickname now is because every time he would spar a world champion or high-level pros, and we're talking guys that outweighed him 30 pounds, they would always get in a fight with him during sparring because he just kept walking through them, and they couldn't stand sparring Esteban because he would just give him such a fit. These guys are supposed to blow this kid out of the water, but they couldn't. The guy's got the heart of a lion, and you know he just keeps coming. He's just a difficult guy to compete against. I think because of his heart. Yeah, techniques can be taught. Athleticism can be brought along. I would say game plans can be brought out in fighters. But when a fighter is born with a heart like Esteban's, you cannot teach that. You're in for a dogfight, man. I mean, this kid's only getting better, you know? A little over a year in the sport, and he's only getting better, and the only thing I gotta say is to stop Esteban is gonna be a tough chore. I mean, the kid will not stop. He will not quit. He will not give up. You're gonna go to war with Esteban, plain and simple. You're gonna go to war, so you better be prepared for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout is part of the Bellator Fighting Championships Single Elimination Featherweight Tournament. Este combate, pactado a 3 asaltos en la división peso pluma, set for 3 rounds of MMA action in the featherweight division. Los jueces de este combate son, the judges scoring this bout are Rick Bays, John Rupert y Héctor Gómez. El referee, Jason Herzog. En la esquina azul, in the blue corner, vestido de pantaloncillos negros con rojo y blanco. He steps into the ring wearing the black trunks with red and white. Su peso oficial, 145 libras. His official weight, 145 pounds. Practica el arte marcial de boxeo tailandés con un récord profesional de 9 victorias y 4 derrotas. He is a Muay Thai practitioner with an MMA record of 9 victories and 4 defeats. Originario originally from Lima, Perú, y representing Team Nogueira, Miami, Florida, Luis Baboon Palomino. Su contrincante en la esquina roja, his opponent in the red corner, vestido de verde con color blanco. He steps in wearing green trimmed in white. Su peso oficial, 145 libras y 3 cuartos. His official weight, 145 3/4 pounds. Practica el arte marcial de estilo libre, con un récord profesional de 6 victorias y solo 1 derrota. He is a freestyle fighter with an MMA record of 6 victories and 1 lone defeat. Representing Arizona Combat Sports, Phoenix, Arizona, Esteban, el terrible Payan.
Fighter, center up. Fighters have gone over the rules in the back. There are no final questions from you, Blue. No final questions from you, Red. Touch gloves, come out ready to fight.
And I wouldn't want Jason Herzog's job for this one. Payan against Palomino, thought to be, at least by the Bellator brass, a potential fight of the night candidate. Palomino has lost 3 of his 4 by TKO. Conversely, Payan has never been finished. I don't think we're going the distance here, Jay.
I don't think we're going to see the ground at all unless one of them hits it after getting knocked out. Low kick there by a man.
Palomino actually back in November went the full 25 minutes in a fight, then came back and fought a week later, one of those losses there. So has the experience and certainly had a lot of cage time in 2008.
Palomino swinging for the fences early.
Yeah, really an intense guy.
You know, they say he hits like Mike Tyson, the little Mike Tyson.
Yeah, he calls himself the new Wanderlei Silva, the new and improved Wanderlei Silva. Maybe he would want to be Wanderlei Silva at least circa 2009.
That's why he said improved. Esteban Payan just kind of feeling out Palomino right now.
I think given the striking prowess, Jay, sorry to cut you off, but given the striking prowess of both these guys, maybe this was the expectation that there would be a feel-out process.
Yeah, I think that there is. Anytime a guy especially is a striker, you're going to come into the fight, you're going to try to gauge your distance, do the things you're used to, work your jab a little bit, kind of feel out your opponent, see what his game plan is. Palomino's connected with a couple of those leg kicks that have kind of spun him around. See, boom, there's another low leg kick. Let's see if El Terrible is going to have an answer for that.
I wonder if our CEO, Bjorn Redney, would let me go with that pink hair in episode 2. What do you think?
I think that you should do it either way.
Match the logo. Payan trying to move forward here, but Palomino really is dangerous that you have to really play your cards close to the vest.
Payan controlling the center of the ring and working those jabs. Payan looks like he's trying to wait for a little bit to be a little more cautious, kind of feeling out Palomino a little bit. Palomino still throwing that leg kick, connecting, moving around good, has good head movement. I think it's the countdown to these guys just stand in the middle of the ring and just slug it out.
Well, if Palomino has the advantage with his hands, you'd have to say that the advantage in terms of the kicks and the Muay Thai is decidedly in Payan's corner.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, both of these guys are in fantastic camps. The only difference, obviously, is that Arizona Combat Sports is a little bit more well-rounded. They focus on a little more than just the striking. But obviously, as we can tell, Palomino has won the Atlantic Cup twice in 6 months, which is a jiu-jitsu tournament, so he's no slouch himself on the ground. Good jab right in the face of Palomino there. Stuck to him there. Using that reach advantage is so important when you're standing up. Payan's able to use that jab and kind of gauge distance and load that right hand behind it. Oh, another right hand down the pipe.
The Lally brothers getting fired up with that Payan strike. Meantime, across the cage, you see the legend Minotauro Nogueira barking orders at Palomino. A lot of good veteran trainers and mixed martial artists inside the Hard Rock Live Arena tonight.
Yeah, the one thing that stands out to me is if you look at Palomino right now, he's throwing heavy bombs. He wants to get the knockout. He's hungry. And you know, if he connects with one of those, it's going to be good night to Payan. But Payan's a little more composed. He's outboxing Palomino at this point. Palomino's still kind of getting his distance and not able to get underneath that jab like he needs to.
Nice jab there. It appears as though Palomino is bleeding from his nose, so Payan has landed, and there he throws another leg kick.
Yeah, Payan's done a really good job of just staying out of Palomino's way.
And again, you have to take a calculated approach. I know we build it as a fight of the night, but again, given how dangerous both of these guys are on their feet, you really have to be careful not to give your opponent an opening.
Yeah, absolutely. It only takes one opening to get kissed on the button.
There's a nice close-up there. You see Palomino has been opened up there, so Payan at least winning the first 4 minutes of this fight. Nice inside leg kick there.
Payan stalking down Palomino. Palomino just spit out some blood there. I thought it wasn't a mouthpiece. Palomino looking for the kill, just swinging for the fences. The thing with swinging like that is it's going to tire you out.
I think maybe he's got some confidence on the heels of that 25-minute brawl he had back in November. Maybe thinks he can has the gas and the cardio to throw flurries early and recover.
Yep. Payan's doing a really good job of just kind of staying. Oh, big right hand to the top.
Yeah, probably. And Payan
slipped.
goes down. Yeah, slipped there, but probably the best right hand and the best strike of the round so far for Palomino.
Yeah, both guys are able to kind of get a couple grazing shots off. If I had to score the round so far, obviously Payan's winning this. He's scoring more shots that are doing damage. You look at the nose right there of Palomino, bloodied up, lips a little bit swollen. Got 15 seconds left in the round here, and I think that there's not much Palomino can do to win it back.
Well, we will watch the Palomino nose. Will that affect his breathing as we move forward? A flurry.
Oh,
end
big
of
right.
round one.
Oh, saved by the bell.
As Palomino saved by the bell there a little bit, and really what we didn't think we would, what we didn't have at the beginning of that round, we certainly had at the end. A huge right hand from Esteban Payan, just a gorgeous counter punch. Palomino, as you see, was moving forward, left his hands down, and Payan took full advantage.
Yeah, Payan hit him with that right, and even though there was 10 seconds left, he was holding back. He let that right hand go within the last 10 seconds, smelled the blood, hopped on him, and unfortunately, I think the round saved him on this one. Bell definitely was the deciding factor for this round.
Well, perhaps Palomino was the favorite, but he's down a round, I think, for sure, at least on Jason Chambers' scorecard. We are going to give you a replay here. Really an exciting end of the round as Palomino ends up on his backside. Jason, talk us through it.
Well, right here you see Payan just sees the opening, right hand straight, jumps on him, throws a couple right hands, looking to make the finish. We look at it from a different angle here. Palomino misses. Payan counters with that straight right, tries to get on to the finish. Palomino kind of got back to him pretty quick. If you see it from this angle, boom, right on the button. About a half a second later, he's right on top of him.
Great
Palomino tries
job
to get up.
by the camera guys getting you that look. You actually saw Palomino's eyes roll back in his head, and thankfully, you're right, Jason, you mentioned 10, 15 seconds to go in the round. He was saved by the bell there. You don't think Payan would have had much difficulty working into a submission or a finish of some kind from there. So 1 round to none, Esteban Payan and Luis Palomino, you know, he's a confident, cocky guy. It'll be interesting to see how he responds to the adversity.
Let's go, second round. Fighter ready? Fighter, you ready? Let's fight!
We got round number 2. The action continues here. It is the debut of the Bellator Fighting Championships. John Anik and Jason Chambers. The quarterfinal matchup here at 145 pounds. Esteban Payan and Luis Palomino. The winner here moving on to the semifinals with $25,000 in the back pocket.
I'll tell you what, one of the things too is after getting your bell rung by that last big right hand that Palomino just ate, a minute's not a whole lot of time to recover. So you got to think, is Palomino a little bit more glove shy now? Is he going to come out swinging as wild as he was? And you know that big right hand gave Payan a bunch of credibility and a bunch of confidence going into this last round. Second round, sorry.
Really a nice approach for Esteban Payan right out of the chute. Again, that's Arizona Combat Sports. Very hot right now. A lot of their fighters having a lot of success. Ryan Bader in the UFC. But there was a game plan against a guy in Luis Palomino who's very dangerous, and so far, so good for Esteban Payan.
I think this time, if you're Esteban Payan, you've got to be real confident in setting up your strikes. And from what we've seen with Palomino's, definitely taken back his wild striking this much that we've seen this far into the round. He's kind of a little more glove shy. He's not swinging for the fences like he was. And then he swings for the fences.
Not sure he landed there. Again, probably another slip there from Payan, Jay?
Yeah, you can tell the guys are slipping a little bit. Blood and sweat tend to make for a interesting lubricant for your feet on the mat.
Right. Well, I think if you are a Palomino fan or a corner man, I think you have to be encouraged at least by the way he looks at the beginning of the second round. Not that he's doing a bunch of appreciable damage, but he doesn't seem to be all that phased from what happened in the first round.
Yeah, and also, you know, I think if you're Payan right now, I would have stayed on him a little more in the beginning of the round, because coming off of that big right hand, you know he's going to be a little dazed, and all you're really doing right now by not staying on him is letting him kind of recoup and get his wits back about him and put together his game plan.
Couple nice kicks there from Payan, one to the head, one to the inside lower left leg.
See Palomino now taking control of the center of the ring, looking to slug it out. Payan looks like he got hit in the back of the head.
Yeah, was hoping Jason Herzog might intervene, but that's not going to happen.
Looks like Payan might be breathing a little bit heavy too. I wonder if that right hand and some of that movement that he was doing to control in the center of the first round has any effect on his cardio.
And you know, Jay, sometimes you can train and put in a great 6 or 8 week camp, and sometimes you can end up just not having your cardio or being a little bit flat on fight night. Payan certainly isn't flat tonight, but sometimes your cardio doesn't necessarily make its way to the cage with you.
Well, one of the things you got to look at too is where the people train. Elevation is a huge factor. Now, Payan obviously being in Arizona, that's a very, very dry atmosphere, very dry climate. Coming out here to Florida, it's more humid, and that affects different people differently. Good inside leg kick by Payan there.
Yeah, nice exchange by both of them with the leg kicks there. Well, I don't want to call it a bounce back 3 minutes for Palomino because he hasn't really done much damage, but, you know, he's at least gotten back into the fight and maybe getting some of that steam that he lost at the end of the first round.
Absolutely. The thing with those knockdowns and those slips is it's really hard to tell if the judges are looking at that from their angle and saying, hey, you got knocked down, or hey, you just slipped on the canvas there.
And for the first time tonight,
both fighters throwing heavy leather in the center there. Payan almost looked like he went for a double leg at one point.
Interesting, for the first time tonight, the Hollywood, Florida faithful getting a little impatient.
You know, so much goes into this. Like you said, a 6 to 8 week camp. You're sacrificing so much. These fighters have talked about it. Not only are they sacrificing time away from their families, their friends, but you know, they're getting up and they're running, they're training, they're pushing themselves to that point where we all go, I want to stop. I don't want to do this anymore. It's difficult. And then you're pushing past that.
Well, Jay, your assessment that Payan seemed to be breathing heavy is absolutely accurate. See, the mouth is almost fully open right now. Crowd getting a little restless here. Expected action out of these two. You got it at the end of the first round. Second round, though, again, sort of a lot of inactivity, I think, defining this second stanza here.
I don't know how restless the crowd would be if they had to be on the other end of either one of these guys right now. Two guys getting knocked down from right hands and left hooks, and you know, both of these guys know this fight could very easily end in a flash knockout. When you look at the last round, the first 4 minutes and 45 seconds were kind of a slow pace like this. The last 10 seconds, boom, we hit the canvas, almost over, saved by the bell.
All right, 15 seconds left in the round. Is somebody going to try and steal the round? I don't know who's won this round. The first round was probably 10-9 for Payan. Does anybody want it in the last 5 seconds? All right, we go to a third and final round right after this.
Stop. Over here. You're here. Walk over here and wipe off your feet. Yeah. There you go.
All right, there is Luis Palomino, a huge opportunity in front of him and Estevan Payan, a featherweight quarterfinal here at the debut of the Bellator Fighting Championships. $25,000 and a spot in the semifinals awaits the winner. Someone's got to take control of this fight.
Yeah, you know, and during the intermission there, the corner break, we had Trevor Lally yelling at his corner to throw knees. You got to throw knees. You got to win this round. It's too close to call. You don't want to leave it to the judges. So let's see if Payan listens to Mr. Lally.
And you did see Payan breathing very heavily there in the second round. Do fighters ever take a round off, so to speak, to try and conserve energy?
When we're training?
No, while you're fighting here, you know, Payan was breathing very heavily in the second round. Would it be a strategy to maybe take the second round lightly to try to conserve energy for the third and final round?
You know what? Usually the first round is around the people who kind of do a feeling out pace and things like that, because you don't want to push things too hard. You can't get a lot of submissions on guys when they're you know, they're fresh and they got a ton of gas in the gas tank. They can fight those takedowns. It's that 1% that, you know, you're able to get in and get that takedown when the guy's a little bit more tired than you, just 1% more tired. And, you know, when you both come out of the tank fresh, it's really hard. These guys are giving it their all, though.
Let's go, guys. You got to engage.
Payan working the inside leg kick, said, hey, you know what? That worked on me. Let me see if I can get this on you.
Again, the crowd getting a little bit restless here. Payan seems to be landing the inside leg kicks, again, not doing a ton of damage.
Palomino going to the body there a little bit, trying to work the body of Payan.
Ooh, a huge left hand there by Palomino. Might have been his best land of the fight.
Goes for the shot. Payan didn't change his level there on that shot. You can tell he doesn't come from a wrestling background.
Yeah, trying to shoot in for the takedown there. Probably was stung a little bit by that nice right hand from Palomino.
Yeah. Ooh, stiff left hand by Palomino.
Palomino getting poked in the eye. Herzog says continue.
Unintentional there. One of the great things about mixed martial arts is that you see these fighters have the most respect for themselves. I mean, you go into this, you know that for 8 weeks, I'm going to be training to kick your butt for 8 weeks. I know the sacrifices and everything you went through to kick my butt. And, you know, while we're in that ring, we're not friends, but we sure aren't enemies either. And at the end of the day, hey, it's a sport, and you respect the heck out of each other.
Nice block there by Palomino on the high kick.
I'm not sure if that's blood or just red hair dye.
I was just going to ask you the same thing.
Taking a page out of Chris Lieben's barber's book.
Again, Palomino religious with that left kick, whether he's landed it inside or to the body. But Palomino seems to have his legs.
Palomino's just still stalking down Payan. Payan's not really setting up those kicks really well. You see he's missed with a few of them, and you got to set those kicks
left hand there
up
by
with punches.
Palomino.
Yeah.
You know, Jason, you pointed out early in the second round, Payan appeared to be gassing. It will be interesting if he wins the decision to see if fatigue and cardio was an issue. You wouldn't expect it to be. Two minutes left in the fight. It hangs in the balance. We'll see which way the judges go if it comes to that. Palomino probably has been the more effective striker here in the third round, just courtesy of that huge right hand. But again, not a lot of activity on the part of either guy.
Yeah, you know, I think both guys are going to hear that 10-second clacker, and they're going to have to go in there and bang it out. Oh, both guys kind of getting into it a little more. Sometimes all it takes is getting hit once to kind of step in there and step up the game a little.
Jason Herzog saw it, but Palomino is not the referee. He needs to continue and fight and stop worrying about the eye poke there.
Yeah, that's what happens when guys come from a boxing or a striking background, is they tend to feel each other out a little more. They don't have the killer instinct that the wrestlers will sometimes come in here with, or guys looking to finish the fight through jiu-jitsu or just that big right hand. Both guys, great boxing, throwing heavy leather, but unfortunately we only have about a minute left in this fight, and it could go either way at this point.
Palomino continues to stalk his opponent. Clearly looks to be the fresher fighter at this stage of things. Not what you would have expected with all the fireworks at the end of the first round.
No, as we move into here, about 45 seconds left, one of these guys has to really turn it up. This is the part where we talk about, you know, making warriors. These guys have to figure out which one of them is a warrior. Oh, almost a knockdown.
The Payan corner seemingly frustrated at this point, and Esteban really treading water at this stage of the fight. Palomino fails to land the huge left hand. And it looks as though Payan is just intent on dancing around and hoping he wins the decision.
Yeah, I think Payan thinks he may have won this fight. If he can get a takedown, he may just have, but at this point, fight goes to the ground the last 4 seconds.
All right, so 15 minutes, not enough to decide the featherweight quarterfinal between Esteban Payan and Luis Palomino. Jason, I know you're not a judge. You don't play one on television. How'd you see this one playing out?
Boy, this is really hard. This is why I never want to be a judge. You look at fights like this, and there's only going to be a loser. There's not going to be a winner, unfortunately, because no matter who wins on this, both guys kind of walk away feeling like, hey, I should have won. I could have done better. And when you let it go to the judges, it's really hard to figure out. I think at this point, you kind of got to give the, the first round, the end of it went to Palomino, but you had the whole first round kind of being dominated. I'm sorry, the end of the round went to Payan. The first round was dominated by Palomino. Second round, it looked like Palomino was making a comeback, and then this round, too, I think he kind of set the pace a little more. So I think I'm going to have to squeak out a decision to Palomino on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would tend to go that way as well. You called it at the beginning. We weren't going to see a whole lot of ground activity. Both guys wanted to strike in. And although there wasn't much appreciable damage done in the final 2 rounds, I think just based upon controlling the cage and moving forward and forcing the action, I think you'd have to give those rounds to Palomino. Remains to be seen if the judges saw it the way we did.
Yeah, the way the judges should look at these fights is that they're looking at technical aggression, who dominated the stand-up, who dominated the ground.
Again, we do want to point out the only knockdown of the fight was back in round number 1 at the end of things, and quite a knockout it was, Jay.
Yeah, Payan right here with a big right hand, connects right on the button, boom!
Well, Payan really showed off his chin there in not succumbing to that pressure. Well, let's get the decision.
Damas y caballeros, después de 3 asaltos, esta es la decisión oficial. Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, the official scorecard reads as follows. El juez Baez anotó 29-28 para Palomino. Judge Baez scores at 29-28 for Palomino. El juez Rupert anotó 29-28 para Payan. Judge Rupert scores it 29-28 for Payan. Y el juez Gómez anotó 29-28. Judge Gómez scores it 29-28. Para el ganador, por decisión dividida, to the winner, by way of split decision. And advancing to the next round y avanzando a la segunda ronda, Esteban, el terrible
All right, Jason, there you have it. The judges disagreeing with the broadcasters, but the scorecards that count are the ones of the judges. Esteban Payan is moving on to the semifinals. What do you make of the decision?
You know, I think that the judges looked at the same thing that everybody at home looked at, is that when it all comes down to it, when it's too close to call, Payan knocked him down with a big right hand, and if it wasn't for the bell at the end of the first round, Payan probably would have finished that with a rear naked choke.
Well, a sense of relief on the part of the Lally brothers. You see the bracket there. Esteban Payan and Joe Soto moving on to the semifinals. More Bellator action from Hollywood, Florida, right after this. John Anik and Jason Chambers cage side, the debut of the Bellator Fighting Championships. Now we get to our final quarterfinal at 145 pounds. Nick Gonzalez against Jair Reyes. Let's hear from Reyes on chasing the MMA dream.
Siempre soñé con pelear y mi sueño más grande es ser un peleador reconocido. Mi familia se preocupó al principio porque era un deporte nuevo, no estaban acostumbrados a verlo, pero me apoyaron siempre. Mi entrenador, él es mi tío, siempre ha estado conmigo y él fue un gran peleador de Muay Thai, de kickboxing.
A la edad de 15 años yo me lo llevé a entrenar a San Diego, a la escuela de Ken Shamrock en Lansden, y ahí iniciamos como en lo que es las artes marciales mixtas.
Como la mamá de un peleador siempre estoy muy nerviosa. Yo voy a todas las peleas. A las que puedo ir, voy. Porque si no voy, me siento más nerviosa porque no sé por dónde le pegan a mi hijo. Yo tengo que ver dónde le pegan. Ni modo que me suba a ayudarle, ¿verdad? Pero yo quiero que la gente sepa de Jair que es muy buen peleador.
Es muy ágil, muy rápido, es muy versátil. Tanto puede luchar como puede golpear. Y creo que es un excelente prospecto para un futuro en grandes eventos.
And one more semifinal spot in the featherweight division to be decided. Jair Reyes making his way to the Bellator cage for the first time. Has been a fixture on the international mixed martial arts scene since 2002. Jay's won 9 of his last 10 fights, and in terms of Mexican mixed martial artists at 145, he's one of the best.
He is. He's actually the featherweight champion in the Mexican-based mixed martial art organization. He's got slick submissions, man. He's got crisp strikes. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with for sure.
A lot of support and a lot of momentum for Reyes in his native Mexico. You mentioned the slick submission. Definitely an accurate striker as well, but he will be looking to finish his opponent via submission. Make no mistake about it. He's won his last 4 fights. 7 of his 12 career victories have come by submission. And if he is going to get by the favorite, Nick Gonzalez, tonight, you have to think it's going to be on the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's probably the best place to take a fight. You know, Nick Gonzalez is a professional boxer, has a background, and, you know, they called him the Ghost. So I think that Reyes is going to look to make the Ghosts really dead.
Reyes, 5'7", 144.5 pounds at the weigh-in, 12-5 in his mixed martial arts career. Really a versatile fighter, but we mentioned the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That is going to be his focus here in the Bellator debut. Now we get to his opponent, Nick Gonzalez. And Nick, in terms of his past, he knows what it feels like to be on bottom.
My relationship with my father was kind of hit or miss. In April, I'll get a phone call at work that they're telling me that he has 24 hours to live, that I should probably try to get to Houston if I can. When I get to the ER where he was at, his tumor had erupted and he was already pretty much comatose. You know, at that point I tried to, you know, of course, you know, you're crying and stuff, your dad's, you know, dying in front of you. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I mean, I never really got to hear back from him say, you know, okay, son, we're at peace now, whatever, but, you know, I like to think in my heart he could hear me. You know, I actually got, this Calavera was inspired by him. He was a tech sergeant in the Air Force. Calavera is a Mexican holiday. When I'm getting ready to fight, you know, he's up over us all watching me, and kind of every now and then I can hear a voice, and I think that's him, so kind of got an angel.
And there is the 8-year veteran Nick Gonzalez making his way to the Bellator cage. And Jason, really some high expectations for Gonzalez within the Bellator organization.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, he's an accomplished professional boxer. You know, they call him the Ghost. The way he actually earned that nickname was during a boxing match. His shorts began to fall off, so he starts holding his shorts with one hand, fighting with the other, and he managed to actually win the fight and avoid his opponent's punches. Called him the Ghost.
How about that? Well, that only happened in one of his 20 pro MMA fights. Has 8 years experience, made the debut back in 2001. And given this stylistic clash here, Jay, safe to say he'll be looking to expose his opponent on the feet and stuff the takedown.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, Nick is an experienced fighter, like you said. He's had over 20 fights. He's won titles at 145, 155. So this is just kind of an old new event for Nick. He's been down this road.
You see the MMA veteran, some would call him a legend, Guy Mesger in his corner. He does fight out of Guy Mesger's Lions Den gym in Dallas. Also point out with Nick Gonzalez, most interesting when I was doing my research, suffered a broken arm during a fight in 2006, only to come back and get the W. Has won titles at 145 and 155, looking to go deep in the Bellator tournament.
Eliminación directa de Bellator Fighting Championships en la división peso pluma. Ladies and gentlemen, we continue with the Bellator Fighting Championship Single Elimination Featherweight Tournament. Traído a ustedes en asociación con, being brought to you in association with Ford Motor Company y ESPN Deportes. Este combate, pactado a 3 asaltos en la división peso pluma. This bout, 3 rounds of MMA in the featherweight division. Los jueces, the judges, Rick Bays, John Rupert y Rich Green. El referee, Troy Wall. En la esquina azul, in the blue corner, vestido de pantaloncillos verdes con vivos blancos, negros y amarillos. He steps into the ring wearing the green trunks trimmed in black, white, and yellow. Detuvo la báscula a un peso oficial de 144 libras y media. He set the scales at an official 144 1/2 pounds. Practica el arte marcial de boxeo tailandés con un récord profesional de 12 victorias y 5 derrotas. He is a Muay Thai fighter with an MMA record of 12 victories along with 5 defeats. Representing Reyes Gym, Tijuana, Baja California, México, Jair, el Guerrero Reyes. Y en la esquina roja, in the red corner, vestido de negro con blanco y amarillo. He steps in wearing black trimmed in white and gold. Su peso oficial, 145 libras y media. His official weight, 145 1/2 pounds. Practica los artes marciales del boxeo y lucha libre con un récord profesional de 14 victorias y 6 derrotas. He is a boxer and wrestler with an MMA record of 14 victories and 6 defeats. Representing Combat Sports Club, Dallas, Texas, Nick the Ghost Gonzalez.
Fighter, center of the ring. Fighter, center of the ring. Gentlemen, we all know the rules. I want a good, clean fight. Let's touch gloves, go back to your corner. Let's get ready to rock and roll.
All right, so you heard it there from Troy Waugh, and again, Nick Gonzalez fighting out of the Combat Sports Club in Dallas, Texas, looking at this Bellator opportunity as a huge one for his career. Has fought some great competition, Eve Edwards, Josh Thompson. The big-name competition is on his resume, but this is his opportunity to win a major world title, and it begins right now. You see Reyes there on the left side of your screen. Now the right side of your screen in green, the black and white trim there for Nick Gonzalez.
Gonzalez puts a little low leg kick. It's going to be interesting to see if both of these fighters play into their striking strengths, or if we see a little more ground action coming out of one of these two.
Veteran Guy Mesger imploring Nick Gonzalez to shoot in. Wants him to force the action here early on.
Both fighters with similar records, similar experience, swinging for the fences.
Yeah, Reyes landing a nice knee there inside.
Reyes really getting in deep on that double.
Yeah,
oh, he's looking
really
for a
aggressive.
knee bar. Not sure if Reyes is going for a knee bar or a heel hook there.
Couple nice straight right hands from the top there for Nick Gonzalez.
Yeah, I know he's getting punched in the face, though. Reyes using the fence to stand up. He's got a guillotine in. He's kind of working. He's got to clear the other hand. He's trying to jump guard to get that guillotine.
Gonzalez better
going.
get that head out.
Nick's head is turning purple a little bit.
Better get that head out. Jair trying to lock it in.
It's really hard to finish guys in the first few minutes of fights. Everyone's really calm and composed, and see right there, his head's out, he's safe. Reyes back in on a double leg. Gonzalez are trying to turn his hips. Boom.
Nice takedown there by Reyes.
Constantly working Reyes, even though he's on his way back up, he's punching Morales in the face.
Yeah, Reyes was the underdog coming in. You wouldn't know it so far.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what's great about these tournaments. You know, you really just don't know how these things are going to end up. You can think this person may be a favorite, this person may be a favorite. Right now, you see both guys trading back and forth. Oh!
Yeah, those Gonzalez knees clearly did some damage. His corner wants him to go in and go for the finish.
Oh!
Now Reyes lands.
Oh, that choke is on tight. It's going to be over. Oh, it's a countdown till it's over, and
that
it's over.
That will do it. Jair Reyes stunning the crowd here at the Seminole. Works into the rear naked choke. Guy Mesger and company not happy in the corner. Jair Reyes making quite a statement, and boy, is his corner happy. What a win for Jair Reyes out of Tijuana, Mexico. Nick Gonzalez, you saw him on the promotional material for the Bellator Fighting Championships. This is an upset. If you want to talk about upsets in the quarterfinal round here, this was not necessarily the expectation. Jair Reyes, certainly a gifted fighter. They know him well in Tijuana. The only fighter on the debut card here that doesn't speak English. He is moving on to the semifinals in the 145-pound division, joining the likes of Esteban Payan and Joe Soto, who had moved on. And really great to see the excitement out of the corner there on the part of Jair Reyes. As for Nick Gonzalez, you see there, he was really up against it, Jay, from the minute the fight began, and really never could get out of his own way.
Morales is throwing big, heavy gloves. Boom, left hand by Reyes. Right away, he jumps, he sees the opportunity, jumps on the back, gets his hooks in, gets that left hand around the throat, cinches it up. Gonzalez doesn't have much choice but to tap there. Gonzalez teeing off, Reyes hits him with that left, another angle, looking for the finish. Notice he goes right away to the neck. That's something that a lot of high-level jiu-jitsu guys will do. They don't worry necessarily about getting the hooks in and have this pattern, but you see that neck there, jump on it, start working the choke. And from another angle there, that left hand just drops him to the canvas.
Huge
right here
left hand, you'll see the tap there. 8 submission victories now for Jair Reyes, none bigger than this one as he takes out the favored Nick Gonzalez to move on to the semifinals at 145 pounds. You see the elation. Now we'll send it inside the Bellator cage for the decision.
Damas y caballeros, la esquina roja se rinde con un tiempo oficial de 2 minutos 11 segundos del primer asalto. Ladies and gentlemen, the red corner taps out with an official time of 2 minutes, 11 seconds of the first round. Your winner, by way of rear naked choke submission, el vencedor por sumisión de estrangulación de espalda. Y avanzando a la segunda ronda and moving on to the second round of Bellator Fighting Championships, Jair El Guerrero Reyes.
So Jair Reyes moving on to the semifinals, joining Esteban Payan and Joe Soto. Will determine the matchup shortly hereafter. But Jair Reyes gets his 8th submission victory. He's won 5 straight as he gets by Nick Gonzalez. We take another look here. He's able to land the huge left hand, and then he goes for the kill, sensed blood in the water, and Nick Gonzalez could not recover. Jair Reyes tightens up on that rear naked choke, and Nick Gonzalez, just like that, bounced from the tournament. Jair Reyes is moving on. We'll be right back with more after this. And the high-level mixed martial arts continues here at the debut for the Bellator Fighting Championships. We move along with a lightweight quarterfinal, and this man needs no introduction. Eddie Alvarez against Greg Loughran. Loughran is here from Ireland, but don't let his demeanor fool you.
When I was growing up as a kid, I was pretty quiet, like, so it was, but I did get in a few fights and stuff, and martial arts has sort of helped me discipline myself that way as well, so it has.
All right, they call him the Hitman. He's come all the way here from Derry County, Ireland, the 25-year-old veteran, Greg Loughran, 20-10 in his career. You see there, he's a quiet kid, but he got into fighting at an early age. MMA really helped his discipline, and Greg Loughran with a humongous opportunity here against one of the best lightweights in the world.
Yeah, Greg Loughran, he's really looking forward to fighting Eddie Alvarez. He thinks it's not only going to be a great test, but a great proving ground for him within the tournament to show people that, hey, you know what? You may not have heard of me yet. You're going to know who I am after today.
Well, if you expected nerves out of Greg Loughran, they weren't on display at the weigh-in. This will be his American debut, his first ever fight on U.S. soil. But before the weigh-in, had no issue making 155 pounds to fight, despite the fact that he's 6 feet tall. He was actually sipping Coca-Cola before the weigh-in, Jay. I know you were a little bit surprised by that. Well, you know what? No problem making 155.
He was a little thirsty, and unfortunately, when you're doing interviews and you've been cutting 15, 20 pounds like a lot of these guys do, you get thirsty, you can't hold it against them for drinking some Coke. Man.
Just a massive, massive opportunity for Greg Loughran against the pride of Kensington, Pennsylvania, Eddie Alvarez, who's got a good woman behind him.
My wife is the best woman, the best girl to have if you're in the profession that I'm in. Without her, it would be so tough for me to do what I'm doing.
When he fights in the cage, it's professional now. So if something happens, like, I can't do anything about it. When he used to fight on the street, I would seriously jump in if someone hit him.
My biggest influence to keep doing what I'm doing and be successful at it would be my family, my kids in particular. I want to show them a model of success, not just tell them the right things to do. I love to show my son, if you work hard and you love something, that you can achieve anything is achievable. And Eddie loves to fight. He knows arm bars, he knows chokes, guillotines, punches, kicks, and knees.
Watching him with my kids just makes me realize every day how blessed I am that we have each other, and the love that we have for each other is like, I fall in love with every minute, every day, more and more. My son compares his father to superheroes.
Eddie thinks his dad's a superhero.
He can beat up Superman, Spider-Man, Batman, but the Hulk will knock him out.
All right, this guy needs no introduction amongst mixed martial arts fans. A consensus top 5 lightweight in the world. There you see him fighting out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Eddie Alvarez.
Yeah, Eddie is definitely one of the fighters I'm the most excited to watch fight. He comes in here with heavy hands, a great record, 15-2. His only 2 losses coming to extremely high-level guys. Eddie right now, I believe, is ranked the 2nd in the world at 155 pounds based on the different stats that you look at. I mean, he's a high school wrestler. He's got super heavy hands. Former Bodog fight champion himself. No stranger to wars.
An aggressive, violent, fast-paced fighter. He turned pro at the age of 18 in 2003. Fights out of the Philadelphia Fight Factory. Stephen Hay firmly in his corner. Eddie Alvarez beginning his career 10-0 before a loss to Nick Thompson, which, by the way, was at welterweight in April of 2007. Has fought a lot in Japan of late. I think it's nice for a lot of people to see Eddie Alvarez fighting back in the United States, where a lot of people think he belongs.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Eddie's no stranger to tournaments, too. He fought over in another organization in Japan in a tournament, so he knows what it takes to not only be strategic, but implement a good game plan. That's going to be a tournament game plan, thinking down the road against the different opponents you may have.
Damas y caballeros, continuamos el torneo de eliminación directa de Bellator Fighting Championships en la división peso ligero. Ladies and gentlemen, we continue the Bellator Fighting Championships Single Elimination Lightweight Tournament. Traído a ustedes en asociación con, being brought to you in association with Ford Motor Company y ESPN Deportes. Este combate pactado a 3 asaltos. This bout set for 3 rounds of MMA action. Los jueces son, the judges are John Rupert, Héctor Gómez, and Rich Green. El referee, Jason Herzog. Presentando la esquina azul, introducing the blue corner. Vestido de negro con color blanco. He steps in wearing black, trimmed in white. Su peso oficial, 153 libras y media, weighing in officially at 153.5 pounds. Practica el arte marcial de estilo libre, con un récord profesional de 20 victorias y 10 derrotas. He is a freestyle fighter with an MMA record of 20 victories and 10 defeats. Representing EFR Fight Club, Derry County, Ireland, Greg Loughran. Y en la esquina roja, in the red corner, vestido de blanco con rojo y negro. He steps in wearing white trimmed in black and red. Detuvo la báscula, un peso oficial de 155 libras y un cuarto. He tipped the scales at an official 155 1/4 pounds. Igual que su rival, practica el arte marcial de estilo libre, con un récord profesional de 15 victorias y solo 2 derrotas. Like his opponent, he too is a freestyle fighter with an MMA record of 15 victories and only 2 losses. Representing the Fight Factory, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Eddie Alvarez.
Fighters have gone over the rules in the back. There are no final questions from you, Blue. No final questions from you, Red. Touch gloves, come out ready to fight.
So Eddie Alvarez, Jason, coming off a loss in his last fight to Shinya Aoki, courtesy of a heel hook, but he had injured his right leg before that bout on New Year's Eve. So I don't know how much we gleaned from that loss, but Eddie Alvarez, either way, trying to get back in the W column.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Eddie's had some problems with tournaments before. He once fought in the Dream Tournament. He beat Joaquim Hansen, had an injury, couldn't compete in the tournament. Joaquim went in for Eddie and ended up winning the tournament.
Right.
So he's got
Of course, the fight between Eddie Alvarez and Tatsuya Kawajiri, thought by a lot of people to be a Fight of the Year candidate late in 2008.
Absolutely. Eddie looking to make this a fight of the night for sure, throwing heavy hands right away. Loughran taking it to him.
Yeah, Loughran landed a shot there early. Doesn't seem to be phased by the atmosphere, by the U.S. soil, or any of that. Nice leg kick there to the body. Excuse me.
Eddie just plants his feet, throws punches, and says, "You're going to fall down or I'm going to fall." Oh! Buckled Eddie with the left hand, Loughran did.
How about that? Eddie Alvarez trying to close the gap there quickly. Appeared to be stunned by that punch.
That's what's great about things like this. It's mixed martial arts. Anything can happen, and oftentimes anything does happen. How many Cinderella stories do you hear about early events where there's tournaments and guys come in as alternates, you know, getting their chance?
Nice uppercut there by Eddie Alvarez. Seems to be finding his stride a little bit here. Loughran, though, wouldn't reveal his game plan to us. Wanted to keep it close to the vest, but again, really just seemed very comfortable in the atmosphere, dealing with the Bellator folks and really trying to maximize this opportunity.
It looks like his game plan is just to punch Eddie in the head a lot. So far, it's working.
Yeah, you know Eddie wants to strike, and Greg seems to be fine with that.
Yeah. They have a mutual agreement. We'll punch each other till one of us falls.
Right. Little overhand right there by Eddie. Appeared to be blocked by Loughran.
Good sprawl there that got his hips in deep. Eddie now working in on that single leg. Greg trying to peel him up so that he takes away some of that leverage that Alvarez is trying to use there. If he can just suck him off the fence, pull off that left leg, boom, down he goes.
Well, Loughran able to get up rather easily, Jay, and get off the cage.
Yeah, Eddie did get a good takedown there. Alvarez putting him against the cage, sucking off that ankle, but like you said, Loughran right back up.
Alvarez really an athlete, really a physical specimen, and a decided favorite here.
Alvarez again pinning Loughran against the cage, in deep on those doubles. Used a lot of energy to pull someone off the cage, though. That's the only problem that you have. Unless you're Eddie Alvarez and you can just suck him right off the cage. Eddie's going to look to use that cage now to kind of posture up and throw some punches here against Loughran.
Dangerous.
Oh, he's
looked
got
like
a guillotine
tapped
pretty
there.
tight.
Looked like Loughran had already tapped. Maybe Jason Herzog didn't see it.
It did look like he may have tapped, but
again, that soft tap, trying to survive a little bit. Alvarez.
Oh, he gets him. It's over. It's over.
And Greg Loughran is done. Eddie Alvarez with ease, moving on in the Bellator lightweight tournament. No surprise here. Eddie Alvarez back in the win column. Careful you don't get injured there. You got to fight in another month,
telling
Eddie.
you've had some tournament injuries before. I'm not sure you should be flipping off a cage.
So Eddie Alvarez, sort of a sluggish start at the beginning, but he makes quick work of Greg Loughran as Alvarez moves on to the surprise of no one really. His wife enjoying every minute of it. Eddie Alvarez takes out Greg Loughran. Alvarez improving his mark to 16-2, bouncing back from the aforementioned New Year's Eve loss against Shinya Aoki. And this is how Eddie Alvarez fights. He's in your face, he's aggressive, fast-paced throughout. This is what you come and pay the big bucks for, to see Eddie Alvarez put on a striking display. And this was vintage Eddie Alvarez tonight. So Greg Loughran, as we mentioned, no issue making a $155 despite being 6 feet. He really works hard on his clinch fighting and his boxing. He is a skilled boxer, and he got the early shot in on Eddie Alvarez.
Yeah,
Bungled Eddie Alvarez, that says something.
You know, if we take a look at the replay here, Loughran got really close to getting this fight underway in his favor. He throws a big left hook, and Loughran hits Eddie. Boom! Right there on the chin. There it is, big left hook, buckles Eddie for a second. Loughran said, oh, I might be able to capitalize.
But Alvarez showing off the chin, gets right up, and then here Eddie comes back and finishes the fight.
Kind of in a He-Man pose there. Using that cage to sink that guillotine in, cutting off the blood flow to Loughran's head, and nowhere to move because he's pinned up against that cage.
And you see it more and more in mixed martial arts these days. You sort of get the soft tap first, and then eventually Greg Loughran can't escape the nice side guillotine choke there. Eddie Alvarez moving on, not with the knockout that he had hoped for, but he'll take a first-round finish by submission anyway, and then the back flip to boot. We will be speaking to Eddie Alvarez inside the cage, but first we move it inside. Lupe Contreras has your decision.
Damas y caballeros, la esquina azul se rinde con un tiempo oficial de 2 minutos 44 segundos el primer asalto. Ladies and gentlemen, the blue corner is forced to tap out with an official time of 2 minutes 44 seconds of the very first round. Your winner, by way of guillotine choke submission, el vencedor por estrangulación de guillotina. Y avanzando a la segunda ronda de Bellator Fighting Championships and moving on to the second round of Bellator Fighting Championships. De Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Eddie Alvarez.
So Eddie Alvarez, ubiquitously regarded as a top 5 lightweight in the world, did nothing to diminish that status tonight. We'll hear from Eddie Alvarez when we come back to the Bellator debut. So Eddie Alvarez moving one step closer to the Bellator world title as he takes out Greg Loughran. Jason Chambers standing by with a victorious Alvarez.
I'm here with your winner, Eddie Alvarez. Eddie, it looked like early in the fight you got caught with a left hand that kind of buckled your knees a little bit there.
Yeah. I told the ref before the fight, I said, hey, don't stop it. I usually get knocked out at least once a fight. So I recover quick. Just let me keep going and keep staying in the fight.
Well, you definitely did recover, and you recovered well. Talk us through the replay a little bit here.
Yeah, I was just watching that exchange. That actually, I have to work on that because when I fought Tatsuya Kawajiri, he caught me with the same thing and almost put me down. One time I'm not going to recover, so I got to work on that.
Tell us how you ended the fight.
I got the takedown. I heard his corner saying, don't let him take you down, so I think they were a little nervous about that. And I seen him breathing heavy. I was in great shape for this fight. He definitely gave me a run for my money standing up, but as soon as I got the takedown, I felt him breaking a little bit, and I was able to catch the guillotine there. I got my first submission.
So how does it feel moving on in the tournament now?
Lovely. A lot of pressure on me here. The guys at Bellator, I want to make them happy. I want to make this promotion something spectacular. So I'm gonna be busting my ass and doing everything I can to please everyone out here.
Well, it sounds like you got a lot of fans here that want to see you do well in the tournament. And so far, so good. We're going forward in the bracket with you. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen, Eddie Alvarez.
Thank you.
So Eddie Alvarez moving on. Takes care of the hype and the pressure, no problem. He is on to the semifinals. We are right back with more Bellator action in a moment. Hotel. The MMA keeps coming. It is the debut of the Bellator Fighting Championships, our final quarterfinal of the night at 155 pounds. Jorge Masvidal against Nick Agallar. Agallar, the veteran from Racine, Wisconsin, has done his homework.
My thoughts on Masvidal, he's tough. You know, he's a very tough guy, very good stand-up. You know, long, lengthy. His ground and his submissions have come far. You know, I mean, I've seen a lot of tapes on him. His takedown defense is real well. But I know him pretty good from other shows. You know, we fought over the years on different shows. So, you know, I've seen him fight, he's seen me fight. So I've seen him fight quite a few times, and it's going to be a good match. It's kind of clash of styles.
So Nick Agallar, no stranger to the big stage, once fought in the UFC, 21-5 in his career. He faces Jorge Masvidal, takes the fight on about 3 weeks' notice, but as a 10-year veteran, Jason, of mixed martial arts, shouldn't be fazed by the atmosphere.
You know, he's a really well-rounded fighter. He has a win over UFC standout Matt Wyman, who's I believe 3-1 right now in the UFC. So he's fought tough competition before. He's fought him on short notice, and this is just old school for him.
Hard to get big opportunities like this if you're a guy like Nick Agallar. You lose one fight in another promotion, or this promotion for that matter, and it's really hard to get back to the top. He's the owner of Agallar Combative Systems. He's a trainer, calls himself his head trainer, but has said he's brought in different people based on this matchup against Jorge Masvidal. Agallar, a high school wrestler. MMA seemed like the obvious next step. He actually did wrestle 1 year in college at the University of Wisconsin Parkside, but really likes to keep the fight on his feet. Asked what his favorite technique was, he says, punches to the face.
Yeah, now I don't know if you want to keep the fight on the feet against a guy like Jorge Masvidal, but whatever he thinks is going to work is what I want to see him implement.
All right, well, now we're going to meet his opponent, Jorge Masvidal, and all he needs is the support of a loving family.
I'm the only son from my mother's side. I'm her one and only. I'm her pride and joy, her baby. I love my mother, you know.
When George came home and he told me that he wants to be a fighter, I saw that he was kidding, that in a couple of weeks, in a couple of days, he's gonna forget that. But eventually it became true.
My hero is my mother. My inspiration is God and me, you know, just pushing myself forward, and my newborn. You know, she's a big inspiration now, you know. As of late, yeah, she's been my biggest inspiration now. My daughter is 3 months and I think 14 or 15 days now. I gotta look at the calendar.
He's good, he has a good heart. He's been a good son. When George is gonna fight, I get nervous. I think that sometimes my heart is gonna blow because it start rising, so I get a little nervous. But at the same time, I think that he's gonna win and nothing is gonna happen, so that way I try to compensate.
175,000. If I'm not careful, I can go through it quick, man. I spend a lot of money sometimes, you know, and dumb stuff, you know. But I'm gonna make sure that my daughter has everything she needs. Well, that's gonna be my first. Make sure my daughter has everything she needs. Maybe, you know, buy a little house or something, you know, who knows, you know.
Well, many are forecasting a final for the Bellator lightweight title between Eddie Alvarez and Jorge Masvidal. Eddie Alvarez doing his part earlier tonight, but Jorge Masvidal's got to take care of business here tonight to keep that dream matchup a reality.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, Jorge Masvidal out of American Top Team. Bunch of guys down there at Jorge Masvidal's weight to be able to push him to the to get the conditioning that he needs to be in for not only this fight, but a tournament over the next 3 months.
Masvidal 16-3 in his career, 5'10", the #1 lightweight in the state of Florida. Really a gifted striker and really a no-nonsense attitude. Expects to take his opponent out, expects to do so in a hurry. Began his career back in 2003, but really has shined of late, Jason. 10-1 since 2006. A lot of success in 2008. Went 3-1 under the Sengoku banner in Japan. Willing to trade strikes, wants to exchange, doesn't really want to end up on the canvas.
Yeah, talk about a guy that's willing to trade strikes. I mean, he first rose to prominence as a street fighter. He had a fight against one of Kimbo Slice's proteges, Reyes, on the internet, and George himself kind of became an internet sensation after that fight. So he's no slouch when it comes to standing and brawling and banging.
His longtime trainer is Eric Tiger Castanos, who will be in his corner. You see Masvidal, he's long, he's lengthy, the great takedown defense. We send it in once more to Lupe Contreras, Mike side.
Damas y caballeros, este combate concluye el evento de esta noche y forma parte del torneo de eliminación directa de Bellator Fighting Championships en la división peso ligero. Ladies and gentlemen, it's our final bout of the evening, and it continues in the Bellator Fighting Championships Single Elimination Lightweight Tournament. Este combate pactado a 3 asaltos. This bout scheduled for 3 rounds of MMA action. Los jueces son, the judges are John Rupert, Héctor Gómez y Rick Bays. El referee, Troy Wall. En la esquina azul, in the blue corner, vestido de rojo con negro y blanco. He steps in wearing red trimmed in black and white. Su peso oficial, 155 libras. His official weight, 155 pounds. Practica el arte marcial de estilo libre, con un récord profesional de 21 victorias y solo 5 derrotas. He's a freestyle fighter with a professional record of 21 victories, along with 5 defeats. Representing Agallar Combative Systems, Racine, Wisconsin, Nick Agallar. Presentando la esquina roja, introducing the red corner, vestido de color celeste con blanco, rojo y amarillo. He steps in wearing light blue trimmed in yellow, white and red. Su peso oficial, 155 libras y 3 cuartos. His official weight, 155 3/4 pounds. Practica los artes marciales de box y lucha libre, con un récord profesional de 16 victorias y solo 3 derrotas. He is a boxing and wrestling practitioner with an MMA record of 16 victories, along with only 3 losses. Representing American Top Team, Miami, Florida, Jorge Masvidal.
Gentlemen, center of the ring, center of the ring. Welcome to the Hard Rock Casino in Hollywood, Florida. It's the main event of the night. I want a good, clean fight. I will not tolerate anything less. Touch gloves, go back to your corner. Let's get ready to rock and roll.
So Troy Wall barking the commands there. You see Nick Agallar trying to spring the upset against Jorge Masvidal. Masvidal, Jay, the picture of focus as usual.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, looking at Nick Agallar today, he's huge for 155, man.
Yeah,
That's
he is a big guy.
dude.
I thought he was a welterweight or a middleweight when I first saw him. Jorge Masvidal, maybe not as wide, but certainly has a couple inches on Nick Agallar. All right, the action gets underway. It is the final bout of the evening. Who will move on to the semifinals of the Bellator lightweight tournament? $25,000 in hand to the winner and a chance to win $175,000 in just 3 months' time. Also, a world title potentially on the line if you win 3 fights.
And Masvidal just happy controlling the center of the ring, sizing up Nick Agallar here. Kind of seeing where those openings are.
We asked Masvidal about his game plan. He said Nick Agallar will be a dead man walking.
Masvidal was the only one in the pre-fight interviews that said, I wanted to talk to the camera and tell him I'm going to kick his ass.
Yeah, let me stare into the camera.
Let me talk some smack.
Agallar, though, won't be surprised with anything he sees in the cage tonight. As we mentioned, a veteran of 26 mixed martial arts fights. He's only been finished by strikes twice in those 26 fights. So not a guy who falls victim to the KO or the TKO easily.
No, not at all. Masvidal, with some punches while Agallar is covering up.
Jay, this could be over in a hurry. Troy Wall.
Over really quick. If Agallar needs to do, it's over.
That will do it. No time to waste. 1 minute, 19 seconds into the opening round. Jorge Masvidal disposes of Nick Agallar. End of discussion. Agallar exit cage left. Jorge Masvidal making a major statement in his Bellator debut. He wins $25,000. More importantly, a spot in the semifinals of the Bellator lightweight tournament.
Yeah, it just looked like Masvidal overwhelmed Agallar there. It looked like Masvidal may have hit him with one hand that kind of stunned him. It took Nick a second to get his wits back about him, and in the meantime, Masvidal hopped all over him, and that's what's important. You see a guy get wounded, you got to go in for the kill.
And you just see how elite a mixed martial artist Jorge Masvidal really is, particularly in the striking department. 8 of his 16 wins coming into the fight by knockout or TKO. Now he gets that knockout percentage over 50% and really didn't waste much time. He saw one opening, landed flush, great accuracy, great versatility with his striking, and this thing ended in a hurry. Certainly a disappointing Bellator debut for Nick Agallar. Back to the drawing board for him, and I know he's disappointed.
Let's take a look at the end of that fight there again, see if we can see the punch. It looked like a left hook might have gotten behind Aguilar's hand there, and just doesn't look like Masvidal gave him even a second to get up. Just relentless with his punches was Masvidal. Aguilar's covering. Yeah, something happened. I'd love to hear what happened with Aguilar.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't seem as though Agallar got hit with a lot of clean shots. Obviously, the late right hand in the ground and pound, and that's when Troy Waugh decided to step in and call an end to the action. I would have looked for Agallar to maybe get up at some point there.
Yeah, it didn't look like Agallar had a lot of time to recover. So, you know, who knows? If I had to guess, I would say Masvidal hit him with the left hand. Might have hit behind the ear, just kind of stunned him and took him out of it for a second.
All right, let's send it inside to Lupe Contreras. He has the final decision as Jorge Masvidal moves on.
Damas y caballeros, el referee Troy Waugh para la contienda con un tiempo oficial de 1 minuto 19 segundos el primer asalto. Ladies and gentlemen, referee Troy Waugh stops this bout with an official time of 1 minute 19 seconds of the very first round. Your winner, by way of technical knockout, el vencedor por knockout técnico y avanzando a la segunda ronda de Bellator Fighting Championships. And moving on to the next round of Bellator Fighting Championships, Jorge Masvidal.
Well, the fighters do control their own destiny here in the Bellator Fighting Championships. The dream matchup potentially in the final between Jorge Masvidal and Eddie Alvarez remains intact. We will hear from the victorious Jorge Masvidal when we come back. It's the Bellator debut at the Seminole in Hollywood, Florida. So Jorge Masvidal wasting little time moving on to the semifinals in the lightweight tournament. The victor standing by with Jason Chambers.
I'm here with your winner, Jorge Masvidal. Jorge, impressive win tonight.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
So you're moving on in the tournament. How does that feel?
Feels great, man. I'm 2 fights away from being the champion. Told you I'm gonna do. I'm just getting warmed up. You know, I got 2 more fights to go. So don't get anxious now. No. Wait till the finals. Then that's when we can party, man.
Well, you know what? You had a great fight, ended in a little over a minute. Talk us through your fight with Nick.
I've known Nick for a while. We fight in a bunch of the same circuits, so I studied a lot of tape on him. Got to see him fight live a lot, so I knew what Nick could bring, and I just had to stay on my toes, make sure I didn't get caught with his big punches. He's a strong dude.
Excellent job, sir. We look forward to seeing you in the tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, Jorge Masvidal.
And indeed, a memorable debut for the Bellator Fighting Championships. 6 semifinalists moving on, 2 fights away from a championship. That will do it from here. For Jason Chambers, I'm John Anik. We'll see you next week at Mohegan Sun in Uncasville, Connecticut.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Francis Ngannou. Subscribe now.